It's going to tell us, hey, what's up, everybody? If you're just joining us, it looks like we are live. As per usual, I have an amazing guest with us today. You're about to introduce Shelley to you all. But Shelley, we were just discussing, I'm going to share this on my personal page and you can do the same. So bear with us, everybody. Here it is. Share. I am live with the one and only Shelley Gallamore. It might help if I can spell your name right. Hold on 1 second, everybody. If you're watching the replay of this, you can probably fast forward about 30 seconds. And sharing. So Shelley, if you go to my page right now and refresh it, you should be able to share it onto yours if you'd like.
All right.
Sometimes there's a little bit of a delay. So hope everybody out there is doing well. I'm just killing time here. I've got a vacation coming up. Excited. Can't happen soon enough here. Is anybody out there got a summer vacation planned? Let me ask you. And if so, drop it in the comments. Let me know where you're going. Shelley, were you able to find it?
It is still refreshing, but I'm sure we will.
Still refreshing. Okay. We had this delay with Don Melvin. It'll be there eventually, I promise.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want you to share it with your peeps if you're able to. No rush. This is our show. This is live TV, man. We get to. I could sing. I could dance.
I can't sing or dance.
No, I can't either. But I mean, I could. That doesn't mean I'm good at it.
It's not something. Oh, there it is. Okay, so
you got it. Okay.
Yeah, let me share that.
No worries. I'm excited for this today. You guys are in for a treat. If you're scrolling, stop the scroll. Come on in. Join the live show. Did that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's kick it off then, everybody. This is officially round numero 10 of the Broker Showdown. What is the Broker Showdown? Maybe this is the first episode or round that you are watching. This is really where I reach out to industry leaders, broker owners like Shelley, that I know have just so much experience, so much wisdom. And I love getting into the minds of really successful, high-minded people. And so I spotlight people like Shelley on the Broker Showdown, where the only rule is we go round for round with each other, 3 questions each, anything goes. She has no idea what I'm going to ask her. I have no idea what she's going to ask me. And that's what makes it fun and a little bit edgy and different from some other traditional podcasts and things of that nature. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Shelley. But before I do, to give a just brief intro, Shelley and I have been running together for a couple, 2, 3, I'm not sure even anymore, how many years now. And I can tell you firsthand that she is a powerful, servant-driven, heart-led leader. And I admire that so much about her. But maybe above all else, she is such a student of personal growth and development, student of the game, always attending trainings, not just for training and learning sakes, though, for implementing sakes. Shelley is one of those people that she's going to leave there, not just with a full pages of notes, but she's not messing around. She's going to get back and implement the things that she learns. And it's just a joy to work with somebody like her who's all about getting things done, removing the fluff, and she really cares about the agents and staff and people she gets to serve. And Shelley, I'm just so excited. I've been looking forward to this very much today. So I'm going to zip it over to you. Just give us a little sense of who you are, where you're from, and we'll get going here.
Yeah. So thanks, Jake. I think it's been about 3 years maybe since I first stumbled into a locker room Facebook group and jumped on that first training and, then on from there. I'm originally an Arkansan, but I've been in Wisconsin now for almost 25 years and have made that my home. And I've been in real estate about 15 years, but this is my 10th year as a broker owner. So
that's amazing.
Starting to feel like I might know a little bit about what I'm doing.
Well, I know for a fact you know what you're doing, and you can see right there in her title, She is the broker owner of Realty Executive Southeast, and her and I are not too far from each other. So fun fact, I'm also in Wisconsin, as is she. And I don't know, Shelley, what are we, about an hour and a half away from each other, probably?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Easy
you're in the
fun.
Waukesha area. Yeah, yeah. So, and you guys service, just for everybody listening here, if they have referrals or different opportunities, what are the counties maybe that you can put a name to that you and your team serve?
So we serve southeastern Wisconsin, which is we have an office in Waukesha and Walworth County, but we do business in Milwaukee County, Ozaukee, Washington, Racine, Kenosha, a little bit in Rock. So all of southeastern Wisconsin.
Got it. Noted. Yeah, you guys do cover a pretty broad base there. You know, it's a lot of rural type areas somewhere in there, but agents I know of yours service a lot of that area. So very good. All right. My name's Jake. If this is our first time hanging out, anybody tuning in here, founder, CEO of the Locker Room Real Estate Coaching and Training Company. And we specialize in working with broker owners like Shelley on all things related to growth, retention, productivity, and profitability. And we're very passionate about it. We've got a team of 9 coaches right now, and just absolutely love what we do and who we get to do it with. I'm also co-founder with my business partner, Kit, in the Locker Room Leadership and Coaching Academy, which is an ICF accredited institution. So we're able to take people through the academy, and they're able to get their International Coaching Federation certification by going through our approved academy. Also, last thing, I run a community specifically for independent broker owners called the RELC. That stands for the Real Estate Leadership Circle, where we can bring indie brokers together and collaborate on all these things. So that said, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I have a background playing baseball, hence the locker room and all the other things. But we're not here for me today. We are here for Shelley. So Shelley, I am ready to ask you my very first question. Are you ready?
I think so.
All right. And these are fun, guys. You have to understand, we have a history with each other. So it's like, I'm kind of scared maybe what she'll ask me, and maybe I've struck some fear into her heart as well.
Yeah.
So let's go. My first question to you is this. I love asking broker owners this question. If I was an agent in your market, considering maybe making a change right now, knowing there's more out there, tell me, in your words, what is your unique value proposition and why an agent like me should consider joining? Go ahead.
So we are a full service boutique brokerage of a nationally recognized brand. That allows us to be hands-on and agent centric in helping people develop businesses so that they can be their personal and professional best. Specifically, we are also very collaborative and willing to help people nurture their business in a very face-to-face, in-person method.
Shelley, I love that. Permission to ask a follow-up question or two?
Yeah.
Good, because I'm going to do it anyways. This is my show. No, I'm playing. So first of all, holy smokes, anybody watching this right now, very clear, very crisp, very succinct. You think that she hasn't mastered how to communicate her value proposition? You just got a master class on it. Sorry, somebody's out here doing something. And you said a couple words that resonated with me. Hands-on and collaborative. So let's just unpack that a little bit more for me. What is an example or examples of what agents in your firm or those exploring perhaps would expect? What does hands-on mean? Are we doing in-person events and training? Talk to me about that.
I think hands-on means a lot about being in person. Whether that's sometimes in person is on a Zoom or it's actually physically across the table. But we are not quick to tell our agents to go watch a video. We are going to sit down and do something in person with them. So we have a lot of trainings in that way. It's also in person when it comes to helping agents with contract negotiation, with a first or a 50th transaction, right? If they are getting ready to do something that they've not done before, they get the wisdom of the entire office. They get myself. We have a compliance broker that's had 25 years of experience. They get all of the collective knowledge to help them decide what's the best path for my clients. How do I handle this situation? What should I do? Whether that's how to write a good contract, how to have a good conversation, all of those things. So yeah, we're all about answering the phone and sitting down and being there.
One more. I love where you're going with this, and that in and of itself absolutely hits the mark of a unique value proposition, which was my question. What I didn't hear, and I just want to point this out for everybody. Did you notice how Shelley's answer didn't consist of, oh, we've got great competitive splits and caps and fees and CRMs? Dude, there's nothing unique about that as a value proposition. Anybody can duplicate that. So I love the angle you took, and I just want to note that for everybody, if that resonates with them. One more. I'm going a little deeper here. I'm cheating. I sense there's something behind this. Like there's an edge almost to parts of your answer. So where did this come from? Why the emphasis on hands-on and collaboration and those things, contrary to virtual and not hands-on and not collaborative? What's behind that?
Well, I mean, if we're honest, agents can build a business in a lot of different ways and places, and they have to find what meets where they're at. But I think that we increasingly have become reliant upon, everybody says they have training, but we become reliant upon just plug and play and go figure it out. I mean, what's the first thing that we all do is for anything, we Google it. And now we not only Google it, but we get that AI generator at the top of Google that's going to try to sum it up even better for us. And I think we only have to look at the fact that our industry has such a high failure rate to understand that people need more than that. They need hands-on collaborative wisdom. They need the opportunity to not just get some information, but know how to use that information. And so when I became a realtor, that's one of the things that I first noticed is that it was kind of like, here you go, jump in the deep end. And if you can figure it out and make it, great. And then we'll pay some attention to you after you figure it out. And I just felt like that was a shame because in my life, I've always been a leader of people. And I don't like to see people fail. So I, started my brokerage and decided to become a broker owner because I wanted a place where it wasn't assumed that 75 or 80% of the people that came through my door would fail.
I'm over here like fist pumping and clapping, like this is why I love asking the initial question with my follow-up question just now, because you get exposed to the heart and the mind of the leader, and teach their own. Everybody's got their own unique value proposition. But with Shelley here, this is one of the most interesting questions for whatever reason. I guess I love learning about people's origin stories. There's a reason, there's something that sparked it or prompted it that led you down the path of taking all the risk, dealing with all the headaches of being the leader. The buck stopped with you. And I'm genuinely curious with everybody where that stems from, because it's the speed of the leader, speed of the team. Your business takes on the identity and values of the leader. And I think you just put it very, very well and very nobly because of the industry failure rate and what a lot of people are doing. And you chose to swim in many ways in the opposite direction. I love that.
Yeah, for us, I mean, we have all of those other things. We have very competitive splits. We're a capped model. We have all of those things that make us good, but we're not the cheapest. We're not trying to be. When you look at the word boutique, Jake, I think about that little specialty store that I used to shop in, that knew my name and kind of set aside something they thought I might be interested in. And I've brought that into what does it look like to have a boutique brokerage? Well, that's a brokerage where we look at each agent and we set aside a little something, or we design a little something, or we do it a little different for that one agent because that's what they need. That's really, to me, what boutique means. And we try to carry that into everything we do.
And that Shelley is why you and I are aligned so well. And y'all watching, hey, you don't have to agree. You might take the entirely opposite approach. That's okay. It all works. Just make sure it's aligned with you and what your initial desires are. But I love that. I have zero desire to get out there and compete and be the biggest and baddest real estate coaching and training company. Just like brokerages, there's a dime a dozen. There's a ton of them out there, but you got to find the ones that you align with principally. And maybe somebody out there needs to read Simon Sinek's book called The Infinite Game, because who is the best? Who is number one? Who gets to even dictate that? There's certain coaches in my line of work that put out there like, I'm number one and we're the best. Well, who the hell gets to determine who's the best? You're number one in what? Who says? Yeah. Well, and you're playing that game while I'm playing the infinite game over here, just helping the Shelley Gallamores of the world and her agents one conversation, one tool at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to start with Simon's book, Leaders That Eat Last, because there's something about being the leader that it's a duty and it's a privilege. And it's something that I made a deliberate choice to be.
Yeah. You're doing a great job at it. We're never going to finish this because I gotta shut up. Over to you. Your first question back to me. I'm kidding.
So you just mentioned Simon Sinek. I would love to know, who is the leadership guru that you always read? It's the one you always go back to.
Okay. I like that question. Nobody's ever asked me that, actually. I'm only allowed one.
Just one. Who is it that's like, you always pick their books back up?
Okay, I'm not going to overthink this. I'm not sure if this is the guru necessarily, but this is going to be my answer. I can't deny it. You've heard me reference this individual many, many times, Shelley. I would have to say Andy Andrews. Andy Andrews is the author, of many books, one of which is my number one all-time favorite book, called The Traveler's Gift. The Traveler's Gift. Oh my God. If you have not read this book, better yet, if you have like audible.com, please listen to it. It is so captivating. I could not stop. It's the only audiobook I've ever listened to, and I've listened to a bunch, that I couldn't stop. It was so compelling and captivating, the way he changes his voice, and I won't give it away. Why do I say that? Maybe for me, maybe it was a season of my life when I needed that book. Maybe the message of it is what I needed, because the subtitle is The 7 Decisions for Success. I was in kind of this whirlwind, maybe borderline identity crisis as a business person. I was fine, but as a business person, what did I want to be? And so much of that book was so beautifully written. And at the end of each chapter, he goes through basically like a glorified affirmation statement. And it just spoke to my soul. I don't know how else to put it. And ever since then, I've read and listened to his other books, which are fantastic. But there's something about Andy Andrews, the way he writes and tells stories. It just, for some reason, connects with me. I love me some John Maxwell and Tony Robbins and Mel Robbins. They're amazing. But the one I come back to, I'd have to say it's Andy Andrews for sure.
Okay.
So, yep. Have you read or listened to Traveler's Gift?
I've read it, and I mean, it was like, okay. So it's interesting. That's why I ask it that way. I've got some Audible points right now. I'll definitely get it and try it on audio this summer. Yeah.
And I love the honesty, because it may not connect with everybody the way it did with me. And I think part of the reason, like I said, was it was just a season of life that I needed that book. I needed to hear whatever it was communicated. Place, one last one. I'm going to cheat, and I'll be very brief here. If you had asked me what's one book that really transformed your business, I would have answered without a shadow of a doubt, the Blue Ocean Strategy book. that it carries a significant responsibility as to why we do what we do at the locker room and the reasons for how we go about doing them. So if you want to stand out from the crowd instead of competing in the red shark infested bloody waters like Shelley and I were just talking about, go check out the Blue Ocean Strategy book. It may just speak to you too. So,
and that's very interesting because I would have said my answer to that question is Patrick Leonce. I always go back to his books and his podcast, and then right on top of that is John Acuff. So it's interesting that we all have our different people that resonate and fill our buckets when we need it.
I should have said Jake Dixon with Cannonball. Hello.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody else will have to say that.
Right. Maybe I'll ask that question in somebody in the future. I'm like, you better say Cannonball. No. Okay. Next question for you, Shelley. Number 2.
Okay.
Can you name a person who has had a tremendous impact on you as a leader? Maybe it's like a mentor, a leader, a coach, somebody. And how did that person impact your life?
So I thought about that because I tried to think, there's a lot of people that have impacted me through the years, but I think the first person, and I think the person that I would say really got me on a leadership path was Denise Kahn. She was the pastor's wife at, I worked for almost 8 years for a church, and she, during that time, had numerous professional roles in my life. But I would say throughout that, she mentored me. She is the first person that said, hey, you should read this book. She used to take me to breakfast and I would say really question, like, why did you do that? What were you thinking? Have you considered it like this? Do you, and one of the statements that she used to say to me all the time, as she would scold me for a lack of preparation or a lack of discipline is she would always say, you did okay, but what if you actually tried? And, and it was that conversation between, raw talent and actual discipline. And I think that is the foundation. And I really owe who I am as a leader today to her. So I don't know if she'll catch this or not. I know I've told her that, but I think that's my person.
Say that one more time. It was from raw talent to what?
It's where raw talent and personal discipline actually, you can get so far on, well, I'll just wing it because I'm sort of good at it naturally. But what if you actually try? What if you actually apply some discipline to that raw talent? And that was something that I think I spent most of my 30s being mentored by her. Did not go into real estate until I turned 40. And so I really think that set me up for the next season of my life. Yeah.
I'm seeing that on a whiteboard in my head. It's like, okay, here's the quickest point between quickest way between 2 points is a straight line. So in my mind's eye, I'm seeing natural talent, natural ability, charisma, all that stuff here. And then over here, I see in the second point, there's a distance between the two of discipline. Yep. And I'm envisioning, what is the bridge? What is the gap? And you tell me what you're thinking. I'm thinking it's activity. It's consistency. Yeah. Right. It's prioritization and time management. What comes to mind?
I would say planning and organization. Some of those things. And it's interesting. I did a disc profile back in my 30s, and I am a high I, high D, and I had literally no S&C. Like I tested 10 or below on both of those, which, as you know, those are the systems and the processes, parts of us. And now those are still definitely my low scores, but they've risen as I've learned to respect the necessity of actually having a plan, the necessity of actually thinking through and not just doing things off the cuff. I've also learned to respect the people who lead from an S or a C, and respect my need for them in my life. Instead of just looking at them as a pain in the butt, I look at them as a huge resource and asset to me. So I think that's that was a conversation that really started in my 30s that really set me up as who I am today.
That's great. And it was Denise?
Denise Kahn.
You go, Denise, if you're watching this. Thank you for pouring into such an amazing person and leader. What about the rest of you? Comment, leave us a comment. We'd love to know, who is that person for you? Somebody that has made a significant impact on you as a person, as a leader. Drop a comment, give that person a shout out. We'd love to acknowledge that person as well. So, Shelley, over to you for question number 2.
Oh, well, so Jake, I am curious. You spent a lot of time in sports teams and baseball specifically. What is the skill that you can directly attribute to your time in sports that you use in your business?
Dang, you got some good questions. Everybody has, but these are really great. The skill from sports, specifically baseball, that I can now tie to business.
Yep.
Skill. I don't know if this is a skill or it meets the mark of your question, but I'm going to say this anyways, and you can feel free to ask a follow-up. One of the reasons I have grown more wisdom, perhaps, about why did God give me a certain natural ability to make it a certain caliber of playing the game of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I had to battle through some injuries, put an end to my career. So I look back now and I connect dots of like, okay, life doesn't happen to me, life happens for me. So what was the gift inside? I've had to work through a lot of reflections in the early years of all of that. And what I determined is all the lessons, all the principles I could go on for days about. But just looking at the game itself, why wasn't I supposed to play basketball or football or some other sport? Okay, baseball. And I believe it's for this reason. Baseball/softball, okay, is a game of failure. It is a game of failure. Think about this, ladies and gents, if you never have. Baseball or softball is the only sport that I can think of to where the defense is in control of the ball. Think about that. That's why it's a game of failure. Every other sport, major sports at least, the offense is in control of the ball. You're on offense if the quarterback is throwing passes. You're on offense if you're dribbling the basketball. Yes? But not baseball or softball. No. So I believe I was given certain gifts and talents for that sport, knowing, God knew later, I wasn't supposed to play that for the rest of my life, but it was the lessons and resilience that the sport itself taught me that I believe has now positioned me to be a leader of others. To say, you know what? It's okay if you succeed 3 out of 10 times because you're in the Hall of Fame in baseball if you do that. You can fail 7 times and still be a Hall of Famer and get paid millions of dollars. Very counterintuitive to traditional education. If I was a teacher and Shelley was a student in my class and she got 54 out of 100 correct on a test, what grade does Shelley get?
Oh yeah, that's an F.
It's an F.
Yeah.
It's a slap on the wrist, shame on you. But Shelley got more than 50% of the answers right.
Right.
And yet traditional education says, nope, you're a failure.
Right.
Guess what? And I'm almost done, I promise. But in entrepreneurship, I just got to get one right.
Yeah.
I might fail. I might try 100 times, fail 99 ways, but it takes one person, one idea, one whatever to say yes and work out for you that changes your life. It is so counterintuitive. So I wrap all of that under the bow. I mean, it's not a skill necessarily to your original question, but it's definitely something I carry with me from playing the game. And now I reference and use for stubborn, steadfast, pig-headedness, resilience, because I was raised in an environment where failure wasn't failure. Failure is just a byproduct or a step in the direction of achievement.
Okay.
And so that to me is my answer, unless it's not good enough for you.
No, I think that's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I did it for a number of years, giving kids lessons and stuff like that at a baseball facility that I started as my very first crack at entrepreneurship. And I did that for 3 years. And aside from the X's and O's and how to grip the bat and hold the ball and do all the mechanical stuff correctly, one of the gifts I wanted to pour into them was the mentality, the mindset side of things. Because whether they went on to play or not, I knew they would carry that with them into real life.
Right.
And it would serve them later as it has myself.
Right.
So
right.
that's my answer. I'm sticking to it. I think I've got one more here for you, Shelley. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. My final question is, what is the biggest challenge that you see agents facing today? And how would you lead them to overcome that challenge?
Biggest challenge. Well, I see in agents, there's this widening gap between in two areas. There's a technology, and I would say both technology and I would include in technology social media. There's a widening gap between those who know how to use that effectively and those who don't. And there is definitely a gap in for those who don't know how to effectively manage themselves. And so I see that as the biggest two challenges. But really, a lot of that comes down to the idea of managing yourself, because you can fix the gap on the technology side with education and with time in the field learning, which comes back to, are you putting in enough reps? Are you spending enough time actually learning how to do something? And so, which comes down to managing yourself. So that's, I think, the biggest challenge is, I don't think that, and I'm a mom of 5. And so my kids are young adults now. I have a couple of the last millennials and the rest are Gen Z. And I'm very pro those generations, but I will say that I think the helicopter parenting that they have experienced has not taught resiliency, which is very necessary to manage yourself. And I think probably there's some reason that we lack resiliency in every generation, but I think, I can definitely speak to that for that generation.
A little entitlement maybe, but okay. So technology, which includes social media, AI, all embracing and knowing how to
generating online leads, online lead platforms. I mean, there's a whole world of technology pieces that are going to impact real estate, and agents.
And so I'm going to repeat back what I think I heard, but you add anything missing. So the second half of my question was then, okay, so what is it and how would you lead them to overcome those challenges? What I think I heard is it ties back actually to your UVP, unique value proposition. When you say, hey, we're going to create this environment, hands-on experience, training and educational, personal growth development, but I can't do it for you. You've got to plug in. You've got to be resourceful. You've got to be, what you've said multiple times now, disciplined enough to engage and plug into that. But it's not going to be a question due to a lack of resources. It might be your resourcefulness. Fair?
Yeah. And I think, I don't know that I fully answered the second part. So that's what I would say is I see this widening gap between those agents who are, who maybe have that natural talent in these areas, but also are willing to actually work. We're in an industry that is self-policed, and an industry where it really, no one's coming to save you. You have to be willing to put in the time. And it is truly necessary that, especially in the first 3 to 5 years, that we treat this as a job, that we put the time into learning, getting the skills, practicing our scripts, doing all of those things. So what do I do to help them through that is that we try to create those environments that make those things possible, that create those collaborations. We create trainings where we utilize both the online technology with an overlay of in-person, or, we're going to watch this and then discuss it, or we're going to do this, and then, play this game that leads you through it. We want to create that environment of that culture of productivity that makes coming and putting 5 or 6 hours in on my business, building my business, thinking through what my structure is going to look like. We want to make that as important as maybe going on a showing, because if they put the time and energy into those things, and I mean, here's the thing, Jake, that's not just for new agents. I mean, if you're going to be an agent, a certain amount of your workload, whether you've been in the business 1 year or 25 years, has to be staying up on your technology, staying up on the new scripts, because the business changes. What you were saying to sellers this week may have to be something completely different 90 days from now. And so you don't want to practice on your client, and what you can do to help somebody market their home today might be completely different 3 years from now. And so we want to we try to create an environment where education and practice is just natural. It's just included. It's part of what we expect that we're going to do. And then the collaboration should hopefully add a layer of accountability to make it cool to put the time in.
Yeah. I'm in love with your answer. I really am. I think, well, doesn't matter what I think, but for everybody watching that, she probably said something that resonated with you a bit. And just as you said, creating that environment. Let me say this differently. Sorry, collecting thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason I ask certain questions, every question I ask brokers like this is actually, I have an underlying reason why, just kind of nerdy like that. The underlying reason why I asked this question to Shelley was because I wanted to see her level of awareness in real time. Is she listening? Does she know the real-time pulse and needs of the agents? And clearly the answer is yes. And I think that is so important because, as you were saying, what might have worked a week ago doesn't. We got to pivot, man. We got to be agile and adapt. And so when you say things like technology, which wraps up a whole big thing, clearly that's the talk of the town, but also back to human behavior around disciplines and accountability and engagement. You're not going to beg people. You're not here to babysit. I'm here to lead. Mm-hmm. So you create the environment because you're so in tune with what's going on and bring in experts and different conversations, and coupling that is the discipline. I'm just repeating back. I know I'm overly thorough here. So follow-up question very quickly. Is there an example of what is one of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome? How'd you do it? What'd you learn from it? Anything that you might be willing to share with us?
Oh, wow. So as I think for me, a biggest challenge, let's see. I've had so many. But I think for me, personally, one of my biggest challenges I've had to overcome that impacts every part of my business is my desire to not have people be upset with me. That, I think it's natural. There's a lot of people pleasers. And frankly, we get groomed that way, right? Like we're supposed to. And I think it might be a very female thing to be, you need to be calm and sweet and don't upset people. And if they're mad at you, then clearly you did something wrong. Right. And so one of my mantras that I actually say to myself is, that just because they're upset doesn't make me wrong. Because whether that is a real estate client who doesn't like the fact that they need to do a repair on their home, or doesn't like the fact that it won't sell for what they thought it should sell for due to the condition, or whether that is an agent who doesn't like that we have to make a call in our brokerage that negatively impacts them, or doesn't like that we won't pay them until they've completed their file properly. All of those many things. I've had to learn that I need to be confident. I need to, doesn't mean I can't change my mind, can't take in that other information, but I have to stand firm in what I believe and as the leader, I have to make the call. I have to make the choice. And as the professional, with my clients, I have to make the choice and make the call, and then I have to stand there and kind of take the consequences. So that's something that I look back at 25-year-old Shelley and 35-year-old Shelley, and she was really afraid of having convictions because she didn't want people to be mad at her. And you can't lead that way.
Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. I know we're short on time, so I'm going to toss to you for my final question, and then I might sneak in a bonus question at the end before we leave.
Well, my final question for you, Jake, you talk to broker owners every day. What's the number one thing that they need to stop doing?
Ooh, making me call out a big group of people here, huh?
Me and everybody else. What should we stop?
No, I'm going to take this to, I mean, I could give the traditional response, just like anybody, agents and human beings in general. Just stop making excuses. Stop delaying the inevitable. Stop complaining about the results you're not getting for the work you're not doing. I could go there, but I'm going to go here instead. A little bit more practical in the operations of a brokerage.
Yeah.
Two things, two responses. Okay. Number one, they need to spend and put more prioritization and emphasis on the onboarding experience. Say what? I'm not talking about onboarding checklist. Hand them the keys, give them the copy code, show them where the bathroom is. I'm not talking about that. Yes, there's a punch list. For most, at best, that's what their onboarding system looks like. I'm talking about the experiential side. I'm talking about rolling out, literally or metaphorically, the red carpet. How are you going to create a raving fan from this person day one? It starts day one. So the experience is, we've tossed around ideas. A welcome wagon. What would that look like? And what impact would it make them feel when some of your agents were notified quietly behind the scenes the day or the week of that new agent joining, and they got random calls from agents in the office saying, "Hey, it's Jake here. Just want to welcome you, wish you into the team. I'm here as a resource if you need any." That is so powerful. That's just one of so many different experience examples that I could give you. But what's the quote? Maybe people don't remember what you say. They remember how you make them feel. And when we're looking at building any system, we have 3 checkpoints. What do we want them to know? What do we want them to do? And how do we want them to feel? And for most, they don't give enough attention to the feel. And that's really real, really important to something as basic as an onboarding process. You swim upstream. That might be the root of your recruiting problems. That might be the root of your engagement problems. That might be the root of your productivity problems. Retention problems, profitability problems. Swear to God, that little system, the way you onboard people, really matters later in a very big way that too many brokers are currently discounting.
Yeah.
So that's answer number 1. Answer number 2, I conducted a focus group last year, around this time, in fact, where I went on a mission in 90 days to interview 100 broker owners. And I had a series of questions, all asking the same. One of them, Shelley, is actually the very first question I asked you. I said, imagine I'm an agent. Just humor me.
Yeah.
What's your unique value proposition? And you know what I heard 9.8 out of 10 times?
Splits.
Comp plans, fees, shares of whatever they're sharing today. And I'm not meaning to, I have friends at every brokerage. I am brokerage agnostic. I don't care. But you're better than that, leaders. You're better than that. That's the stuff. That's not my question. My question is, what is your unique value proposition? I'm telling y'all right now, agents out there, you are, whether you believe it or not, you are craving strong leadership, culture, not feeling like you're isolated and alone on this island in this entrepreneurial world. Yeah. That is more of what I'm actually looking for when I ask questions like that, not how great your split is and your monthly fees are and blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that's not a factor as to why somebody may just join you, of course. but it's not your unique value proposition because there's nothing unique about it. So I would say stop discounting yourselves, discounting other things that could represent the true value proposition, and just making it about the superficial stuff.
You make me think of, I had a conversation with an agent about a year and a half ago, who she kept coming back to interview with us. She was there for the third or fourth time at her instigation. She clearly was drawn to us.
Right.
We were less than enamored, but willing to take the meeting. Right. And so this final meeting, she just kept hammering our cost, and she kept saying, well, my husband doesn't understand why I have to pay to have a job, or, some version of that. And finally, how you just have that, you say something and you realize it really deep and true. And I looked at her and I said, the fact that you keep saying that says that your husband and you both don't understand the role of a brokerage in your life. You're not coming here to have a job. You're coming here to procure services for your business from me. And this is what my services cost.
Right.
And that was kind of the end of the conversation. But I think that is the piece that sometimes people don't understand, is that brokerages are we're providing a service to an agent that they're going to use in their business, just like if they hired a professional photographer to take their pictures, and so I look at every day what we do as, how are we going to serve our clients? And our clients are the agents that work for us. What are we doing to help them build their business? Because we're providing that service. And that's so much more than talking about the rest of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, well said. Well said. Again, I want to be sensitive to time. I've kept you here, but first of all, before I forget, how can somebody connect with you? Maybe I'm a broker and I just want to mastermind with you for a minute, or maybe I'm an agent within your service area. And after seeing this, I might want to talk to you. What's the best way somebody can connect with you?
My phone number is very, very out there. So, I'm open to calls and texts. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook under Shelley Gallamore. So, I'm open to any of those things. I'm very easy to find.
Perfect. Yeah. And if not, that's a whole different conversation for a different day.
Yeah.
Here's my final bonus question, because again, this is my show. I get to play it. Before we exit today and everybody gets on with their days, my bonus question is this: what is one piece of advice that you have been given that you might want to share today and pass along to our audience watching this?
I think the piece of advice that and I don't know that I heard it like a single time, but I've heard it a lot, and it has become something that I have understood. And that is to recognize the importance of emotional intelligence, recognize the importance of what you might think of as the soft skills, and invest in those, and that includes your ability to communicate. That includes your mindset. That includes your ability to manage your own emotions. We live in an amazing time, Jake. There is no end of podcasts to listen to, books to read, Audible. I think about Zig Ziglar used to talk about being a tapeworm because you could listen to the cassette tape. That was your only option, back then. And now, let's jump on YouTube. Let's get on Apple Podcasts. There's no end of content out there. But if we don't take that content and actually apply it to our lives and change who we are, shame on us, right? Because it's available to us. The ability to evaluate ourselves and say, what does somebody experience with me? What do they get when they get me? And how can I make that better? I think that is the thing that has made me who I am today. And I think it's the number one piece of advice I would give to anybody is learn to be more emotionally intelligent.
So good. So good. Oh my gosh. You are preaching today, Shelley Gallamore. Guys, I hope I know if you watch this, you had to have. It's impossible that you didn't get something from this, hearing Shelley and and show her some love. Whenever you see this, drop a comment, reach out to her personally. We'd love to connect you to anybody right here at the locker room and beyond. So I am just incredibly grateful to you as a friend, as a business partner, and just as a fellow leader in this industry, and what you're doing to serve others, make them better, and the stance and perspective that you bring that I think is really, really refreshing. So thank you, Shelley, for everything. Any last words from you?
No, I will say that the 3 years that I've spent partnering with the locker room have been the best for my business. Definitely walked in a room and found some people that helped me be better. So if you are out there in the real estate space and you don't know about the amazing things the locker room is doing, you need to figure it out.
Well, it's very kind of you to say. I did not plan.
Yeah.
So, no, we're equally as grateful.
But it's the truth.
Yeah. Well, it's because we have to show up and keep our sword sharp, right? Because I don't want to be the reason that I unearn the right to lead other leaders like you. It's you're constantly pushing us, and we got to raise our game to continue to earn that right. So thank you for the kind words. Yeah. All right, everybody. Hey, this is a wrap for round 10 of the Broker Showdown. Keep tuning in. We got many more coming. And give it up for Shelley. We're very appreciative. Shelley, you're an amazing servant-driven leader, rock star. We're here for you. And appreciate it all, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. See you on the next one.